somewhere.
Okay, so I call
And put in
this
traffic.
meeting of the town board of New Paltz to order on July 3rd at 7 p.m. And I need a motion.
So moved.
Second,
Thank you. We're going to start with the 7 p.m. public hearing for the proposed adoption of local law C of 2025, adopting an amendment to the community preservation plan. I need a motion for that.
so moved.
Second, Amanda, any discussion? On favor?
Aye.
Aye.
There's a sign up sheet in that public hearing.
Is there someone here for the public hearing on the amendment to the community preservation plan? Only if you have something to say. Are you here for the public hearing on the community preservation plan update?
Well, I'm here mainly, no, I'm
Okay.
only for the purchase.
Okay, great. Okay, so
That's the
we're gonna
next one.
leave this public hearing open until later in the meeting, just in case somebody comes in a little late. All right. The next, we have two. Oh yes, we do. We have two public hearings tonight. I need a motion to call the public hearing purchase of real property from New York State DOT along the Thruway to order. Do I have a-
moved.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second,
Any discussion? On favor?
Aye. Aye.
Is there anyone here for the public hearing for the purchase of real property from New York State DOT along the Thruway?
Sounds like John is here for that one.
I'm just here to support.
Okay, very good. We're gonna leave this public hearing open also. They're related, only they both have to do with the community preservation plan and fund. All right, so now we're calling the board meeting to order.
does you want to make a comment?
No, just in case you need,
When we have the discussion of
But
the,
you're here in support of this.
yeah, I'm here in support of it, and help you. If
Okay.
you need clarification.
Thank you.
Thank you.
let's all stand for the pledge of allegiance, please.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America,
to the
and to the
republic
republic
for
for
which
which
it
it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And we have our Indigenous Land and Black Labor Acknowledgement. Who would like to read it tonight?
I can read it.
Okay, thank you.
The town of New Paltz humbly acknowledges that we are on the traditional land of the Munsee, Esopus, and Lenape people. The Indian Removal Act of 1830 forced the people to relocate to inhospitable territory far from the bountiful valley and mountains we inhabit today. The town further acknowledges that much of the physical structure of our town and village was built by enslaved Africans who labored as the property of their owners until 1827 on this very land. We acknowledge the contributions, resilience, and accomplishments of the BIPOC community who have overcome historic injustice to inform our past and inspire our future. Please visit the resource library on our website to learn more. We encourage residents and visitors to learn more about the contributions and sacrifices made by the indigenous people and enslaved Africans by visiting the sites on our website.
Thank you very much. Okay, do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I have one amendment. I would like to add an interview of Tara Fitzpatrick,
For,
seat on the police commission.
Second,
we'll have one A and one B there.
The other ones in devices.
and I have an item that I'm asking to delete. Item number 4, approve Chief Dunn to spend up to $30,000 from the seized assets account to purchase new firearms and requisite equipment. At the last meeting of this board, we had tabled this motion until the police commission will be able to review it according to the chapter 34 law, section on purchases. I'm not sure why it's here again, and we have scheduled it to discuss it at the last meeting and at this meeting coming up.
At this meeting?
No, I'm meaning the meeting of the police commission on Tuesday.
So what we asked was for information that we received about the, about seized assets and what what they were and what this purchase was for, so we all got that, right?
Right.
We all have that information.
And the procedure will be for the police commission to look at that information on Tuesday.
Well, I believe that was on your agenda for your last police commission meeting.
The police chief was not present for us to discuss it with him.
So,
We expect him to be present at the next meeting
um,
and to provide
Okay.
backup information.
I guess you need a second for that motion.
Second.
I'm sorry.
So Edgar has made a motion to
Oh.
remove item 4. Essie has seconded.
Okay, is there any more discussion?
And to table it for a future meeting after the police commission meets on it.
Okay, so the motion is,
The motion that I made was that item 4 that I read aloud before be taken off this agenda to allow the agreement that we had to proceed, in which the police commission will review this with the police chief with the information that we have requested. And then that, of course, it will go back on the town board after the police commission reviews it.
So it's, just more discussion. It's my understanding that we were going to have it on the 17th so that the police commission could actually ask questions to have the opportunity to ask questions of the chief, after reviewing the information. And so we have postponed this twice for that reason. So having it on this agenda still does not satisfy that requirement, which is the reason it's been postponed twice. So for the police commission to have the opportunity to review it
no, and was this,
and have discussion and ask questions.
okay, was this information, you got this,
Helpful,
right?
yes.
Okay, so, and this is to inform the police commission. Right, okay. All right,
And we will share that with the community member, Anthony Nguyen also. I'm not sure that
So-
he received it.
You just need to call the vote.
right. So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, it looks like it's staying on the agenda. Sorry, guys. Any other changes to the agenda? And I motion to approve the agenda as amended.
So moved.
Second? On favor?
Aye.
Opposed. Just for the record.
Yep, absolutely.
I didn't hear why did she oppose?
For the
I
record.
oppose because our
Oh, right. I
item
opposed
did
that
not get
also.
voted.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, announcements. There's a number of things being hosted by the community wellness this summer. The ones that are coming up most immediately are on Wellness Wednesdays and has from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. on July 9th. There's yoga with Crystal Middleton, and on July 16th, breathwork with Heather Barton. And there's a number of other events coming up the rest of the month and into August. You can find these all on the website. There will be painting in the picnic grove at historic Huguenot Street on Thursdays from July 10th to August 7th. All town offices are closed tomorrow in observance of the 4th of July holiday. We currently have the following board and committee openings for volunteers. The planning board, 2 primary and 2 alternates. The recreation committee, 1. The police commission, 2, and the ethics board, 2. We do have a number of people who've been sending in letters of interest for some of these positions, which is good news, but we can always use more. And we will be, as they come in, we'll be reviewing them and asking people to come and interview with us. Please send your letter of interest and a resume to the assistant at townofnewpaltz.org. Is there anyone here for public input?
Wait, Essie, there's an event at the Margaret Wade Lewis Center, John Lewis event. Is that something that you wanted to?
It's not one of our events, so I
Oh.
don't know.
Okay,
And I'm not gonna be in town. I believe it's Indivisible New Paltz that's holding that event. They are going past, their last stop is the Margaret Wade Lewis Center, but I don't know the time and so on, so.
oh, it's 5:30, July 17th.
And that is our
Our
meeting.
meeting.
I know.
Where does it start?
Starts at the Methodist Church.
5:30, July 17th,
Yeah.
Methodist Church.
Okay.
and it ends at the Margaret Wade Lewis Center.
Yeah, and I think there's something going on tonight. It's, there's a lot of things going on. They seem to keep picking Thursdays. Okay, no one's here for public input, then we'll start to move to.
Yes.
Well,
Just
oh,
Same,
okay.
same.
I'll make this, I'm trying to make it very brief, and, it's,
You don't have to sign in because
oh, okay, and it's a little bit difficult for me to topic. So what I'm asking, I don't know if I should be asking it of the supervisor or the town board as a whole. But I would ask that, considering what's going on with our police department and, one of our, well, I say our because it is one of our police officers who is going to be dealing with the, district attorney on some, and since it's public information, and that's why I'm bringing it up. I would ask that a statement from either the supervisor or the board be put out to the public. Because, you know, there's so much there's so much talk, community-wise, social media, and, you know, it could be quite disturbing. And I think you could probably calm down some of maybe what's being said. Because it's a serious matter. And I would hope that, I read somewhere, just this week that one of the, in one of the reporters, it might be the Times Herald Record, I think, where they requested, comment from public official, New Falls public officials. I'm assuming they mean you, because you are the supervisor, you are the employee of the police officers. And so if they've put out a call to you, I would hope that you can respond in some way, form, or fashion, so to help quell some of the comments and some of the concerns. There's lots of concerns with regard to that matter. And, you know, is everybody innocent until proven guilty? So that's my plea to you, is that you make a statement, a comment, something. But, to be quiet, gives people, you know, the angst and wondering why, you know, board's not saying anything about it. It's been over 2 weeks now. And so, since those charges, or since the complaint went up to the, district attorney. And so, that's my plea to you.
I have not been contacted by anyone in the press.
I'm just saying, it's in the paper, it's in, I don't know if it's, I can tell you what, when I go home, I will text you and tell you which paper, but it doesn't say they reached out to you specific, it says they reached out to town personnel. And I would assume, since you're the employer, that's who they would be reaching out
I
to.
do believe that the chief made
I don't think-
us, there were reports from him on that matter too. I may need to
Right,
check.
but I don't, they've got reports from, what I read today was comments from the department as well. But, so I think there's a separate entity they're looking for, and I think that is probably you all, because who else would it be? Right?
I'm sorry, I haven't seen anything except.
Yeah, I'll send it to your email between tonight.
Okay, thank
All
you.
right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Diana.
Okay. All right, what we have next on our agenda is to interview, we have two potential, people who want to be involved with the police commission. So we can start, you have any preference who goes first? No? Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say Paul knows, yeah.
You need a seat? Let me get it.
Should get a chair, yes. Actually went and found this.
Very good.
Yeah, there you go. So you filled this out, and we've read it, but we just ask you to do it so everybody in public.
Sure.
can see.
I was trying to find my copy of it earlier and I don't know what I did with it, so.
We have it.
As long as you have it.
Well, let's see if you. well,
Are you going over those exactly?
Oh,
Or are you gonna ask me other
oh,
questions?
Generally asking ways to just tell us a little bit about why, why you want to be on the police commission.
Okay.
There's people in the waiting room.
Oh, shoot.
Well, I during my tenure in the legislature, I was the chair of the Criminal Justice Public Safety Committee. Those were in the years before we had a county executive. So I had oversight on 15, if my memory serves me, different departments, including the sheriff and the district attorney and the public defender and the community corrections program, which we don't have anymore, and several other, even like weights and measures. During that time, because we did not have an executive and my experience, you know, when I first got there was very limited. I rode with the police. I had ridden with the New Paltz Police. I rode with the sheriff's department. I attended, you know, the district attorney with, you know, and the public defender both invited me to their weekly staff meetings. I attended those things and got sort of a picture of the whole law enforcement program that we had, not just in the county, but throughout Ulster County. And then I was very involved with the development of the 911 system in Ulster County. I have to tell you, riding with the New Paltz Police, I found it, I'm sure it's changed. I would want to do it again, especially if we're going to be evaluating the chief. Because I'm sort of like that from Missouri, you got to show me, I want to see it. But I had insights, well, first of all, to New Paltz that I didn't know existed in my limited, you know, life at that point in time as a housewife in Ohioville. There's a New Paltz that happens at night and happens in other places that I was completely unaware of. And it opened my eyes, and I think I've continued to try to, you know, keep track of those kind of things. I saw our police officers then, and I think it's even more important today, that they need to be part social worker, part, you know, they need to do more than just police. They have, I hold them in high regard, but I also hold them to a very high standard. And I'm really happy that New Paltz seems to be, you know, taking that, the social part of it, you know, the stuff that's beyond just the law part of it.
So what do you think is the purpose and mission of the police commission?
Well, clearly it's to have oversight of the police department. And to work with the chief to ensure that that all of the officers are evaluated on a regular basis. With the incident we were just talking about, I applaud the chief for taking that, you know, to the district attorney. I don't know the details of it. I don't want to enter into it, but if it's something big like that happens, I think you have to, you know, like I say, I hold our officers in high regard, but I also hold them to a high standard. I'd be interested to learn more about that. I only know what I've read in the paper, and I don't want to pass judgment on anyone, but so looking through the laws, I would look to the people on the commission now to see how you have been conducting the regular performance evaluations of the chief. That's interesting to me. When I was a legislator, of course, the sheriff was elected, and Sheriff LaPaglia and I had some notable disagreements over the years, but I think we both handled them professionally, and, you know, I got along better with some of the other sheriffs. And I've had interactions with the New Paltz Police, both good and bad, over the years. So I think the duties and the responsibility of the commission is to do that oversight, to make sure that the chief is filing evaluations of his staff too, and to review those kind of things, to review the day-to-day and look for, you know, one of the things people in like a personnel office do is look for repeating incidents. Like if there are people keeping having accidents here, or there are people that are continually, coming, either rising to the surface for their good or getting attention because they're bad. So I think you have to be very hands-on. I think those of you that are on the commission have your hands full.
So what do diversity, equality, and inclusion mean to you, and why are they important?
That is, diversity, New Paltz, it's one of the wonderful parts of New Paltz is our diversity. I've seen it, change dramatically in my 70 years here. My 70 years of life and visiting here. I didn't always live in New Paltz, but, I did live in places like Montgomery, Alabama and Waco, Texas. My father was in the Air Force. I remember not being able to ride buses. And those kind of things had an impact on me. When I came back to New Paltz as a child, every summer, it was like a breath of fresh air. I think those experiences taught me that there are very subtle ways that people can feel excluded. And I think it's important for our police department to make sure when they address different, communities, they be sensitive to that. We all have different experiences. When the whole defund the police thing came about, one of my neighbors had put up a big sign that was, F the police. And I drove by it every day. And I had to find out whose sign it was, and I called him and just talked to him about it, to see what his experience was and why he felt that way. In fact, when I realized back then, there was an opening on the police commission, and I even suggested to him he might want to apply for it, to bring his point of view to it. But, I think it's important to talk to people.
I don't need to ask all the questions.
So just going along the lines of DEI, have you had any DEI or undoing racism or cultural sensitivity types of training?
Working for the county, I had their training on a regular, annual basis. I think that training was sort of limited. I also had some training in that area when I was taking courses in mediation, to be a mediator. We had some courses that looked at that. I would welcome, more of that. I learned something whenever I take a course like that. So.
I have one other question, but it's not about the DEI, so if someone else has a.
Go ahead.
Okay. My other question is, we are very familiar with you. We've seen you at several different interviews for different positions, but never police commission, and police commission has often been open. So I'm just wondering why now police commission?
Now that I'm retired, like I said, I believe the police commission is going to take more than just even like the ZBA, or I think it will be more time consuming than a lot of other positions. Not that those positions, I think a lot of people take those positions without realizing it's not just attending one meeting a month.
It's work, yeah.
And I think the police commission, to do it right, and I would certainly take my lead from people that have been doing it, would be time consuming.
You mentioned day-to-day within the department. Could you expand on that a bit more? And the reason I ask that question is because the chief, whoever that is responsible for the day-to-day management and operation of the department. As you know, I served on the commission for 6 or so years. It changed from when I was on it, but that responsibility is still still rests with the chief. So could you expand on what your vision or how you envision
Like
day to day?
Well, first of all, I would love to come in and meet with the chief and see what, how he envisions his role and what's happening around him. And hopefully, not just ride with the chief, but ride with some of his people and see, what the challenges are that they feel that they face. If they feel the chief is supporting them in facing those challenges. And, if how he may feel that the commission is, supporting, his goals, how he's working with the commission. You're the elected people. One thing that I struggle with this, when I was doing this role before, I was the elected official. The sheriff was an elected official. The district attorney was an elected official. So our roles were quite different. This commission, you're the elected officials here. This commission, we answer ultimately to you. That's why it's nice, there's a couple of board people on the commission, but ultimately we answer to you. And the chief is also not an elected official. So it's going to be a little bit of a different role, but I think talking with him and finding out what he sees as the day-to-day, riding with the police, sitting at the desk with the, with the dispatcher. I'd like to sort of see what their day-to-day is and get a better understanding of it.
Any other questions from the board?
I see in your application that you mentioned working in restorative justice. And do you feel that it was a successful program? Are there places of it that need improvement or?
I believe it could always be improved.
Okay.
The concept is wonderful. We had the community corrections program, which I'm really sorry we lost. The community corrections program took people that really didn't needed some supervision, but didn't necessarily needed to be locked up in the jail. And so they were housed during the week. They went out to the community, they went to school, they went to work, they came back for support groups. And they came back to be drug and alcohol tested, and they had more supervision when they were out. But they would go out and, on a weekend and paint a church or, do things in the community and do things to build their self-esteem. And so I'm really sorry we lost that program. I had hoped restorative justice would maybe take on some of those kind of things too, and maybe help with the cultural understandings too between different groups.
Mhm.
So it's a great concept, but I think it could always be improved.
Okay. And you mentioned really being willing to dig in. Right now, the commission meets once a month. If extra meetings were required, I know Edgar made a plea at one point that maybe they need to meet twice a month just to get this chapter 34 revision done. Would you be okay with that? Not permanently,
Yeah.
but, okay, great.
Absolutely. And I'd like to, if I'm appointed, I need to get up to speed on all the revisions that were.
Okay, thank you.
So, I'm glad you've been here a long time, and we go back, with the school board, I'm almost there. You said 70 years. The challenge that we're confronting with the New Paltz Police Commission at the moment is the law that we have. When we did research on the history of the commission, it has flip-flopped in many different variations. And the question that I have for you, why do you think that is, or where may the problem be? Now, at one point, there was one state policeman that was in charge of the police commission, I'm guessing 40 years ago. Then it became a commission separate. Then it became the town board as the police commission. And that pattern has continued up to the present right now. And on the police commission, we've been struggling with why that problem, and actually made public statements to some of the former police commissioners that there appear to be some structural problems in our police commission. And related to that is, you kind of answered the question. Why have civilian oversight of police in general, okay? And then also, one question that you did, that I had, that you answered, was that should the civilian oversight group, the police commission, be only civilians, meaning not employees of the town? Okay, and now we have two town board members on police commission. I'm getting flack and people make comments here in public saying it's a conflict of interest and that the elected paid town board members should not be on the police commission. So I've given you a lot
Lot.
and kind of open.
Well, the first part of your question, I believe law enforcement in general certainly in my lifetime, but it's certainly in the last 40 years, even here locally, has changed dramatically. When you just even look at the sheriffs we've had and their approaches to doing things have gone from, like the J. Edgar Hoover, I'm gonna control everything and be secretive about it, to today, I think our police are very public. And the fact that social media and things like that, the police wearing cameras, we see a lot more of that. So that's changed. The reason I think civilians should be on the police commission is because I think civilians often bring insight to the police that they need. There are times when I worked one place and we had, I don't remember what it was, but I remember there was some big incident where there was like a fight or something. And several of us had to go testify about what we saw. And I heard two other people testify about what they saw, and it was very different than what I saw. And I'm sure they testified to how they perceived what happened. And that's a thing that can be cultural, and it's a thing that can be, there's so many things that, even like maybe where you were and what you overheard, but I think the police need to see their community through the eyes of civilians. Why things have changed over the time, I think there was a point in time where there was some political flack, heads butting, that I think my sense was, I wasn't directly involved with it at the time, that one of these changes in the police commission happened because of political motivations, which, you got it. It's the reality. New Paltz is very political. Let's face it. New Paltz is probably is more political than a lot of towns around us. And we have people that are outspoken. We have people that are smart. We have people with a lot of experience and that are coming at the same thing from different directions. I think if we can keep focused on the core values, we all want the same kind of things. We all want a safe community. We may not all agree on the best way to get there, but I think if you get to the core value of what people want, we all kind of want the same sort of things.
Thank you.
But I'm glad the commission is open to, re-examining itself.
Okay.
I think there may be a problem having, too many board members on there from the town board, but it's like, who do you leave out? You think you both bring something really important. I think every one of you would bring something important to that commission.
We had a liaison person, then that was changed to 2 board members being on the commission.
I
So,
suppose there would always be a liaison.
Yeah.
yeah.
In one fashion or another.
Now, I can also probably speak to the confusion that you speak of, which references the political. What I
Is this
think,
the time for that, though? This is her interview.
yeah, no, but I'm help answering the question. I mean, what I think has happened is that when it went from a civilian commission, went to the town board, and then went back to a civilian commission, there wasn't the the law changed. They took everything back from the civilians, made it the town board, and then when they put it back after reinventing the police, they partially put it back to a civilian commission, but didn't change the things that needed to go back to the commission from the town. And that, I think, is the dilemma that you all find yourselves in. So that, I
That's why
think, is.
I watched a couple of the more recent police commission meetings, and I have to tell you, I was confused about exactly what was happening. I could tell that there's some kind of conflict about you know, but I don't understand all the details of it, so.
Okay, well, thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Dawn.
Okay, and so next we have Ted. Oh, here. Thanks, Paul.
Hi, Tara.
Hi, I'm Tara Fitzpatrick, and I'm applying to the Police Commission for the term that expires on December 31st, 2026. I did want to just open this up by saying that as a previous police commissioner who had been terminated as a result of, however, the town board during their executive session had reasoned out that there was a reason to, purge the board or the commission of the members that were standing. I certainly had some issues that you didn't address with us specifically before making that decision. So I do want to just preface my desire to serve on the commission with a heads up on that. I hope would be change, that if there is any executive session or, situation in which the examination, the conducting of the commission is being reviewed, that we would have at least an opportunity to address any concerns before a termination would occur. So I really appreciate it that I have an opportunity to reapply to be on the police commission, because I do think and do believe in the police commission's mission to provide oversight to the police department, as well as making sure that there is, transparency and accountability from the department to the community. I had previously said and put in my application that when I worked for the Dutchess County Health Department prior to my retirement, I was a sexual assault forensic nurse examiner and for the health department. And so there was an opportunity, while providing the care to my patients who were reporting a sexual assault, with the tension that the police officers wanted to ensure public safety, and that I was able to hold that tension without disclosing or eliminating my patient's self-determination. So if they did not want to move forward with law enforcement, we did not move forward with law enforcement, but we were able to conduct her health or his health assessments and, get the evidence until or if they decided to move forward at a later time. So I just wanted to say that I think that there is tension that is inherent in when there is community participation or oversight of what the police department wants, because there is the public safety that the police department is trying to provide, but there's also the needs of the community. And so I feel I can hold that tension quite well. The other thing I just wanted to mention, I am the mother of a biracial daughter. When she was about 9 or 10 years old, I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. The controversy that had happened in the 1990s with Amadou, who had been shot 19 times and killed, and the police were not held accountable for the 41 rounds that they had discharged. I was driving through Pleasant Valley, and we were pulled over by a deputy sheriff because I had a tail light, and my daughter, 9-10, in the back seat with the sirens going, the lights going, the officer coming up to the side of my car. I roll down the window. She starts crying, "Please don't hurt me or my mommy." And the anguish on that deputy sheriff's face when she's in the back seat of the car crying, please don't hurt me or my mommy. He just said, your tail light is out, and he left. I mean, and I want to appreciate that when things happen in the community, our officers are impacted by what is happening. And I think that that's an important lens through which to see some of the things that we do as a police commission and the way we address certain things that occur. And I again feel that I have the capability of holding that tension. I certainly want my daughter as a 34-year-old woman, if she's driving in her sports car, that she does not have to fear being pulled over by a police officer. But I also understand what needs to happen for the safety of the officer who is approaching a car. So I just wanted to kind of put that out there because I think both things are important. I certainly think the protection of people is more important than what our officers go through, but I do want to acknowledge that there is that tension. And the other thing I just want to mention, because I heard you ask on those questions, I was very appreciative of the opportunities that the town provided the previous police commission, because I attended the 4-day Undoing Racism that the police department under Chief Lucchese had paid for. I mean, that was 4 days of watching our men and women of the New Paltz Police Department, as well as some of the employees. I think Neil attended, and I think Chris from DPW had also attended. And it was really impactful. And I think that the young people in our police department were very much on board and interactive and engaged with the 4 days of Undoing Racism. I mean, there was a lot of sharing and unpacking of things in which people were very authentic and honest, and it actually gave me a greater appreciation for what our New Paltz police officers are willing to push themselves to do. So I just wanted to mention that. And the other thing I enjoyed doing was besides the police conversations with the police, I did participate in a lot of the interviews with dispatchers, police officers. And again, that being a retired person, it allowed me to be able to, when there was an interview scheduled, to be able to participate. If there was the conversations with the police, to be able to be a police commissioner at that conversations with the police. So, I always appreciated the opportunities to weigh in on the police officers that were being considered for employment here, as well as the dispatchers. So.
Here's a question that, how could you best help the police commission with communities most affected by the police? The LGBTQ, youth, Spanish-speaking immigrants, African-Americans, working class in our housing complexes, bar senior, other. Just if you could pick one of those groups and explain or elaborate what you bring to the picture.
Well, what I think I bring in terms of the ability especially as a nurse, right? And a lot of those opportunities to work with those populations, whether it was as a sexual assault forensic nurse examiner, or when I was doing the public health in terms of home visiting to, minorities experiencing health issues and that were not being fairly treated by the medical community. There's a sensitivity that I can bring in terms of understanding those needs.
Do you speak another language?
No hablé español, por favor. Pardon. I'm learning because I have a group that I'm working with in Peru to develop a community project for women entrepreneurs. So I am presently taking Spanish, but un poquito, poco poco.
Just wondering. Okay, great. Does anyone else have questions for Tara?
I would just go back to, we are trying to repair chapter 34. And I think probably that is what led to some of the actions that took place. I do want to thank you for reapplying. In our letter of termination. We did ask every commissioner to reapply, and I'm very glad that you accepted that invitation to reapply. My question is about time. As I mentioned before, Edgar has said we may need more than one meeting a month to finally put chapter 34 in a final form. And would you have time for, not permanent, but it could be a couple of months
Yeah.
at least?
I appreciate that, Kitty. And I just want to step back to the fact that I think it was last fall in October of 2024, you guys had convened a town board meeting at which I attended in order to talk about the mission statement of the commission, and that I had thought that there was a process in place that was going to be inclusive of the commission as you were revising chapter 34. And then things did not pan out in terms of the board's time in working on that. So I feel that my co-commissioners and I, to the best of our ability, as chapter 34 stood at the time, were in compliance with the things that were asked of us. And so I'm willing to look at the areas in which chapter 34 needs to be revised. And I had made notes during my tenure as a commissioner of areas in which I thought things should change. Obviously, with my termination in a fit of anger, I ripped up all those notes because I was so hurt and disturbed in which the way, that termination had occurred. But yes, I do have the time as a retired person to participate in the revisions of chapter 34. And I think it's a necessary lens through which to see. I heard you guys talk to Fawn about the day-to-day operations, and I do think that the chief is responsible for the day-to-day operations. I think that the commission's role is oversight to make sure with the accountability. And when situations arose, whether it was Chief Lucchese or Chief Sutton, they were both open about the commission viewing body cam footage and looking at the details of what had occurred so that we could make inferences about the oversight and the accountability and ask the hard questions of whether it was Chief Lucchese or Chief Sutton.
Thank you.
Did you mentioned the termination, and I came in at the tail end of that. And my understanding was that the commission had been told about its deficiencies and the things that were lacking. And one of the questions that I asked at that time was, are any of the members salvageable? And the answer was no. So I'm a little confused as to where, so were you or did you have a formal sit down with people who had concerns or issues about the performance of the commission, and were commissioners adequately told what needed to be improved, what was lacking, what concerns town board members had, and things of that nature? Did anything like that ever occur?
From my recollection, Randall, Stana was the village liaison and Essie was the town liaison, and Cindy was our chair. I had never seen anything in writing or heard anything that we were in any kind of deficit, because Cindy, as our chair, always interacted with Essie. And when we had executive meetings in which we would discuss whatever, my understanding was Cindy gave Essie a kind of overview or a briefing on what was discussed or what was happening. To my knowledge, I've never received any kind of writing that that our commission, as it was presently set up, was in any way deficit until April 7th, when I was in Portugal walking the Camino Portuguese and saw the email, and I had actually emailed back once I got to an albergue and had some internet access. I emailed back about like, my term hasn't expired. What is this? I mean, that was how out of, for me, how out of left field that termination felt, which was why when I got back, I, felt like it was a Doge purge that occurred because we had not been asked or participated in any kind of discussion that might have occurred, whether it was in an executive session or whatever, to not have information come out of that to then the commissioners to kind of say X, Y, and Z. And what I read in that termination email, which I did on, the commissioners' May 13th meeting, I felt I felt blindsided. And part of the reason why I was hesitant about reapplying was because the email said, you're welcome to reapply once the chapter 34 has been revised. And presently it's in revision. And I feel like there is stuff that I can bring to the table to assist with that revision.
You mentioned, and I like your reference to tension between civilians and police officers. Were there ever times where there was tension between the chief and the commission?
Well, we didn't have it for very long under Chief Sutton because he was replacing Lucchese,
Casey.
right? And we did not have a tool in which to do any evaluations. And then Chief Lucchese retired, right? So, and there was still no tool that we were given to do any kind of evaluation of Chief Sutton once he had been appointed as chief, whether it was at 3 months or 6 months. So, that certainly was addressed, in what they were talking about. But I think that there were times when the commission was able to talk, whether it was Chief Lucchese or Chief Sutton, and reason things out about where and what we stood. And the commission, standing was held.
Do you think the role of the commission is adversarial for the police department?
Absolutely not.
Why not?
Well, because I don't think that we are looking for things to be wrong. I think that the commission's responsibility in accountability and oversight is when things come up to reason, to get the information, to see the evidence, to hear what is going on so that we can make the best possible decision on behalf of the community. And I would not, and I think I point to that withholding the tension as a sexual assault forensic nurse examiner when my patient was reporting that sexual assault, but the police officer who brought that person to the emergency room wanted everything that could possibly be gotten, but that patient did not want to move forward with law enforcement, and I stood in the gap.
Yeah.
To provide that patient with her or his self-determination about what would happen with that evidence.
Yeah.
And that was not adversarial. That was my role. And so I think the role of the commission is to provide that oversight and accountability, but not necessarily in an adversarial way.
I think one of the best things when I served was the appointment. It was, when I started, it was all men. And I think the best thing that they did was to appoint Commissioner Follett, who also worked in a similar capacity as you. And she, I believe she worked in a place where women were in abusive relationships, and that she provided a place for them to live, and they have a whole facility in Poughkeepsie. And she brought a wonderful perspective to what at the time had been a group of all men, most of them former police officers. And I found her perspective refreshing. And I think your addition would also be very, very refreshing for the committee.
Yeah, and thank you. And I really saw a change in police departments when they started doing trauma-informed interviewing with individuals who had experienced a sexual assault, or the documentation that I did for interpersonal violence, and then moving that forward to law enforcement. So, and that trauma-informed interviewing was.
Yeah, I'll be brief. I know we're out of time. And she has really addressed a lot of the questions that I asked Fawn. So I'm satisfied with that, but I have one question that's sort of different. You've attended two, maybe three meetings of the current police commission, and we have had an openness with the public to engage them. And you were yourself surprised at it, what we were doing. Are you in agreement with that kind of approach in which we actually have dialogue with the community and we discuss, for example, chapter 34 draft that we have? Do you support that kind of approach?
I would prefer that we would have a work group and not have it as a commission meeting, because I do think that that having it as a meeting kind of derails some of the things. You never get to the chief's report because of the time that it takes to have the chapter 34 discussion. So one of the things that I think from an organizational viewpoint would be that there'd be an opportunity to have it at more like a workshop than an actual commission meeting. And perhaps that second meeting a month could be billed as the commission workshop meeting, as opposed to the meeting where the commission's business should be conducted, which includes the chief's reports and all the other business that occurs within the commission purview.
Let me.
Yeah, I just want to follow up on that.
The police chief has never not had time to make his report,
Okay.
so I wanted to clarify that. As you know, you were there, we have opened it up in terms of a task force to help us with the process, so that it wouldn't take a lot of commission time. And we described that, and we're going to be addressing that again at the meeting, because chapter 34 is a long document, it's complicated, and we have basically been asked to look at it carefully. The approach that I'm taking is to really look at what's the ideal police commission and kind of start from there. So it's going to take time, and you have been part of that process. And do you appreciate that openness that we had with the community?
I always appreciate having my voice heard.
Okay, thank you.
So I just wanted to circle back because, are you advocating that, the police commission as a whole not review chapter 34 at their meetings?
What I'm saying is that I think the public input and then the actual work of the commission to do the revision of chapter 34 would be more efficient rather than a lot of that back and forth. I don't see it as efficient. I think some of the things that they've gotten to in terms of, consensus has not occurred.
So
Okay.
to make sure I understand real quick, your thought would be, you have a work group to work on chapter 34. You guys approve chapter 34 within that work group, and that could be the commission. Then you're saying you would like the public to have input to that, or that
Well,
could be part of that process?
I think that the public is having input to chapter 34, whatever sections are going to be addressed. I think the public should provide input to it. But I think that there's tons of writing that could happen. There's a lot of public input that could happen. And then the commission take all of that input and actually do the workshop of doing the revision, instead of it always being kind of piecemeal, because I don't see a continuity through the decision because of all the back and forth. So that was kind of what I was saying, is like, you have that public input, you take all that, you come back, you do the workshopping of the revisions, and then you provide.
That is the
product.
model that we are implementing. we announced it and we discussed it at the last meeting, but there will always need to be some kind of a discussion among the appointed, police commissioners. Because we can't make decisions as a commissioner outside, so certain decisions have to be discussed, at least air it out to some extent. But the work will be done with a task force, where some of us will meet with other members of the community to look at the document.
Okay, now,
Okay, wait.
I just have to understand this. So are you saying that there will be a subcommittee of the commission that will work on chapter 34 when we talk about the task force?
Yeah, we called it, the last
So
meeting.
it will not be
Task
the,
force.
all of the commissioner?
Yeah, but that's.
That's not an interview question for
Right.
her, so
Well,
we should talk
but
about that.
It
But
seems-
I do
Yeah,
have,
let it-
I do actually have a question for
Yeah.
you, because
Thank you,
I
Betsy.
know that you mentioned that, Stana and I were liaisons, and
Mhm.
Stana and I were at the meetings. And so do you understand that the police commission works, is accountable to the town board?
When we functioned in our executive sessions to do whatever needed to happen within the executive sessions, my understanding was that we would then report back to the town board, not that the liaisons would be part of that executive session. So yes, I understood that the commission is responsible to the town board, but just like every executive session, there's an opportunity to have a robust discussion without the liaisons necessarily participating in that robust conversation, because then you're not necessarily not having the freedom to fully engage with the conversation that's happening, because you have a set of ears and eyes that then reports back.
That being said, there can also be opportunity, which while you were on the commission, was not allowed. So I was not allowed to come in and have those conversations with you all. So it's very difficult for you to say that you were blindsided and that you didn't know, because when afforded the opportunity to have the liaison in and to have conversations with you, not that I wanted to be in on every conversation, because I fully agree that the police commission should have their own conversations, but I was not allowed to be in those meetings. So it's unfair then to say, it's inconsistent then to say you were blindsided because you didn't afford me the opportunity to share those things with you. In addition, the Chapter 34 does outline how the evaluation of the chief goes. And if there were questions, right, the liaisons were there at the meetings and there were no questions asked. You didn't allow us into the executive sessions and you didn't ask us any questions. So I just am trying to
Yep, I hear what you're
reconcile
saying.
that in my mind with then.
I'll help you
blindsided.
reconcile that, because I think that that was the role of Cindy in her chair position. And when we were doing the business of the commission, right, the liaisons were reporting back to the town board. They weren't necessarily having input into what was going on. So I was blindsided because we did not know some of those items that I had seen in the email were of concern because they had not been brought back. If you had,
weren't allowed to you didn't give us the opportunity. But my other question is about the evaluation of the chief, right? So are you aware that an evaluation of the chief was provided to the town board?
I understand that there was some document at some point, but only after I had been terminated. We had looked at several matrix that had been on websites in order to do Chief Lucchese's evaluation, and then he retired. And so we had not, as a volunteer organization, volunteer commission, made any documents in order to do an evaluation. But I was glad to know that there was an evaluation that existed after I was terminated.
The whole file cabinet full of stuff that you
Whole
didn't know
file cabinet
about.
and stuff. And you
Whole
had
file
people at your
cabinet.
resources as well, so, but that's it. Thank you. Thanks for coming.
Yeah,
Thank you.
any other questions?
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay.
So we have several members of the public who have come after public comment, so I just think if there are people who wanted to say something, we should give them the opportunity.
We do that. Anyone?
Did
here for
anybody?
Public comment? Anybody?
Did anybody want to say anything? Make a comment?
Tell the town board anything. Okay, well,
Okay.
you can think about it. We can come back to it. Okay, we're now gonna move on to the consent agenda. It's a pretty short one. It's the minutes. So this consent agenda is for the approval of the last,
Which item are you on?
two,
Two, okay.
the consent agenda. It's only got one thing,
Okay.
approval of the, minutes from the last meeting. They have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second, Amanda, on favor?
Aye.
Number three, okay, this is not a budget mod exactly, this is, it says it's an increase of the adopted budget, but what it is a moving. So last meeting, we approved the highway department's truck to be paid for out of the B fund, the B fund. And so this is moving money, that amount of money from the B fund to the fund where it can be expended.
So moved.
Second,
Discussion? On favor?
aye.
Aye.
Great. Okay, here's the fun one we don't like, okay. We got information from the chief that explained what seized assets are and how they can and can't be used. And that what the intention was to buy equipment, essentially firearms and auxiliary things like holsters and whatever. Now, from what I understand about seized assets is that they're not part of the budget. They are money that, you know, comes to the department because of their interaction or their involvement with some activity that takes property and then lets it be sold and they divvy up the amount of money. And so that is then at the discretion of the chief to use. And he's saying that he needs to replace firearms that he was not able to do last year because of the budget cuts. It's not really anything that we approve or disapprove either at the police commission or at the town board, unless it were to be something that we felt was completely out of the norm. If he was proposing to buy something that wasn't normal equipment. So it's really almost, it's an action, but it's a very minimal action for the board. And it's an information for the police commission.
So essentially the move, it is releasing funds that belong to him in order to do this. That,
We're agreeing that what he proposes to do with them are not, we don't object.
yeah.
So my only issue with this item is that, as our previous commissioner has said, and as you just said, this is something that even as information is supposed to come to the police commission. The police commission has not been afforded still the opportunity to address this and have a dialogue with the police chief about it. We have postponed this matter for exactly that issue so that he could address the police commission. That still has not happened. So to me, it's inappropriate for us to decide on this, for it to continue to be put back on this agenda when the police commission still has not had that opportunity. And it's not just about giving information, it's about having a dialogue to be able to ask questions with the police chief, which our former commissioner has told us is customary, which you have just said it's information for the police commission, and the police commission has not been afforded that opportunity to have that information. So that is the reason that I don't think it's appropriate for us to, and you keep saying that this isn't something that we're voting on, but you're gonna take a vote on it. So those things are inconsistent for me, and I don't think we should vote this conversation until the police chief or someone from the police department is able to have a conversation and answer questions in person with the police commissioner.
Any more discussion? Ed?
The comment that these funds are the police chief has to be erroneous. These funds belong to New Paltz town, and they're under the controller, the business person that we have, who does the, paying the vouchers or requisitions, whatever it might be. It's a responsibility, it's part of our fiduciary responsibility on all funds that we have that we act on it, and we have a process in place by law, chapter 34, says that vouchers, requisitions come to the police commission for approval, then if approved, then go to the town board. So why are we changing? Why are we not following the law that we have in chapter 34?
Because this is not a budget item. This is part of a restricted fund that gets handed to them. And so it's not the same thing as what we do our vouchers for.
That
Can
cannot
I
be.
just read from Matt's letter? And my, at the last meeting, we actually requested an inventory. We wanted to know what the plan, what purchase was. And I had emailed the chief back and forth several times, as any of us can do, to try and get more clarity on where this money was coming from. And seized assets is our Department of Justice Equitable Sharing Account. This is a program we have participated in for decades. The money in this account has come from seizures, generally from individuals involved in illegal narcotic sales. If an individual we took into custody was in possession of a large amount of currency or a vehicle, and we can prove the money was from narcotic sales, or the vehicle was purchased with funds from narcotic sales, we would start a seizure process. There are specific guidelines for reporting and spending these funds. Anyway, we all got this letter, and it was at our request that we understand exactly where in the assets this money is, and it's in seized assets. So I think this is consistent with the way the Department of Justice hands out the disposition of funds. And Chief Sutton did reply with the equitable quality sharing guide. So I think this is consistent with the DOJ policy, and he did give us the information that we.
But it's not
requested.
consistent with our policy and
Right.
procedure. My question isn't about where the assets came from. My question is about how they're going to be spent and
I'm,
for what reason. And we have not had the opportunity either as a town board or as a police commission to address the chief because I haven't seen the chief.
well, he has said that he's going to spend the money to buy 30 Sig Sauer model P320 9mm handguns with red dot sights. This new purchase requires new holsters and new ammunition. These firearms are to replace the current Sig Sauer handguns that we have had in service for over a decade. It is a necessary investment due to the extensive use our current weapons endure during regular training exercises. Continued reliance on aging, heavily used firearms pose potential safety risks to officers and compromises operational effectiveness. Replacing these worn-out weapons ensures our personnel are equipped with dependable, accurate tools necessary for both training and real-world performance. The new firearms are smaller, lighter, and a better performing caliber bullet. So we have 2 of these new firearms in service with our 2 newest officers. Sergeant Judge, our head firearms instructor, has reported a drastic increase in accuracy and abilities with these 2 officers. Then it goes on to talk about the FBI.
All those comments camouflage the question that maybe should be done. Maybe there should be a legal determination with Gene, the lawyers, or the state to clarify if our fiduciary responsibility does not also include those funds. That's the question at the table.
They can't be
They,
used for
they
anything
cannot,
else, right?
no,
Anything else other than
what I'm
what?
asking is,
Purchase of firearms?
Purchase of police equipment.
whatever the use that's intended, I'm not concerned about that. I'm concerned about the notion that the police chief owns this money. I cannot imagine that legally. And so I'm asking that a determination be done, where we raise the question as to whether our fiduciary responsibility extends to these seized assets.
Okay, Can I compare it to perhaps the CHIPS funds that our 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 highway department gets, they only go to the highway department for the specific use of repaving the roads.
But we approved
No,
approved that.
it comes from the county. It comes.
No,
from the
but Chris comes here and asks how to use those funds.
Not for that, he doesn't.
Yes, he does.
But he's here and available for questions.
Right.
When he wants something and needs something to be paid for and there's an issue, he's here so that we can ask the questions and address it with him. And I'm confused also as to how, you made a statement last meeting about how this is the way the police commission functioned and this is the way it was supposed to function and that this is the way the chief was supposed to function and that he was supposed to bring these things, even if it's simply informational, to the police commission. And yet we're now deviating from that. I don't understand that piece.
Well, my understanding was that this has been on the commission agenda for 2 different times. Last month, he didn't show. It was on the agenda before.
No, it wasn't.
But I will tell you that the way that it worked for us, the chief would come to the commission and say, I've got seized assets, I need such and such.
Exactly.
We could support it or not support it. We didn't really discuss it because it was his money, and if we didn't support it, he went to the town board and he said, give me my money. And the
Exactly.
town
That's
board
all-
would,
That's all I want is that opportunity
would-
to be able to do that for us as the police commission to be able to make the recommendation. You asked us to do a job, you don't allow us to do it. That's my only issue with this.
So the way we got this information was an email got sent.
What was
We
that?
can go over this a million times. You all can answer the questions as many times as you want. It's not addressing the issue that I have, which is that this is the chief's job to come to us. You've said it, and yet we're deviating from it. Why are we deviating from it? Why? I don't understand why we continue to skip these processes.
Why didn't you send him an email and ask him the question?
Because you guys were already dealing with this. Like, how many
No, you
people have to ask the question? Okay, well, give me the opportunity to do that then. We'll put it off of the agenda once again until we have the opportunity to do that. I mean, my understanding is that somebody will be at the police commission meeting next week. That was my understanding, so we would have the opportunity to do that. I thought this wasn't going to be on until our July 17th meeting for that reason. So we're wasting a lot of time having this
Right, but-
conversation over and over again when it's really a simple answer
Okay.
in my mind.
For chapter 34, it lists all of the duties of the police commission, and how the chief spends seized assets is not on this page. And we asked for a complete description of how the Department of Justice seized assets fund work. We all
It's not my
received it.
question. It's not my issue, again.
Well, but if your issue is, does the police commission opine on seized assets?
We've already decided that they do.
We have not decided that they do.
We haven't had that opportunity once
And
again.
I
I
okay.
just think we should really move on. We've wasted a
Well,
whole lot
I
of
think
time.
we have to call the vote.
I think the request that I made is that we ask for legal opinion in this matter, whatever the process may be. Gene, the lawyers, the state, to clarify whether this is his money to do as he pleases, or it is
Did you
the
read the
town's
motion
resource.
he sent us?
You read it, and I read it before. It's not convincing. It's camouflaging the issue at hand.
Look, I'm
I
not,
don't need to.
you know,
read it
I
again.
stood up 10 years ago and opposed the purchase of tasers from seized assets. And I just felt that it was an unnecessary display of force. I got outvoted.
Mhm.
Tasers were purchased. In this case, he has done what we asked him to do. It would come from the police commission to the town board anyway.
Exactly. We haven't
So-
been able to do that.
Because I don't believe, I mean, I don't know how much of this we want to do here, but have you confirmed that Matt will be attending the next meeting?
I haven't heard he's not. What?
We have a meeting on Tuesday. Are you telling me that you don't know whether the chief
Well,
is
do
coming?
you, have you reached out to him?
I
Who's the
received a
chair?
notification from, do I need to
Who's the
speak?
chair of the police commission right now?
It's Anthony Nguyen right now. Okay, he's not received any communication. We received one communication from Amanda. You want to speak to that?
Yeah, you said, will the chief at the meeting and said, that's my understanding. Why would I know any different or think any different?
The question is,
Why are you asking me?
because you wrote a memorandum to that effect to us. And I don't want to read it out loud in public. You want me to read it out in one sentence that you gave us?
I don't think so, but I just feel like I agree with Kitty at this point. We either need to postpone it, which is what we have postponed it twice for and still have not accomplished that. So I don't think postponing it till the next meeting is such a difficult thing. Or call the question. But something, we have to take some action.
I say call a question.
There was no motion made yet.
I move we approve Chief Sutton to spend $30,000 from seized assets accounts to purchase new firearms and requisite equipment.
It's a motion before. I said,
You,
we need a legal
so you need
determination.
to get a second for that motion, and then we need to vote on
Yeah.
that.
So like,
I
okay,
make a
once we the
motion.
Motion, then we'll have the discussion, which we've been
I
having.
make a motion that we get a legal determination about the so-called money that belongs to the police chief and not to the New Paltz Town Board. As to whether that's correct or not, and that he has final say-so on that, or whether it's the town board.
Second.
It's our fiduciary
Okay, so
responsibility to
vote on
understand how the
that
money,
motion.
Vote on
and what
that
happens
motion,
with it.
please.
All in favor?
Aye.
That particular item is, that detail is, I'm having trouble understanding that.
It's getting a determination. I mean,
Well, I don't know who you think is gonna, there's a published guide on it.
that's a federal, Department of Justice about the funds. The funds come to the town of New Paltz. They're sitting in
They go
some
into the
account.
seized asset fund, which is operated and shared with the Department of Justice. We may not like it, but that's the way. it
Do we have access to that account?
No, only the chief has access to
No, well,
that.
he's part of the New Paltz government, so we as a town have a say. You can't tell me
Right, we have a
that he
say.
privately,
We're
he
being
privately
asked to vote on
controls
it.
this money. That cannot be.
Not privately, but as the chief.
We're publicly discussing the request.
We've
Is,
called the question,
so,
it failed. We now go to number 4. I move we approve Chief Sutton to spend up to $30,000 from seized assets account to purchase new firearms and requisite equipment.
Discussion,
second,
if this motion is approved, I will take legal action against the New Paltz Town Board, because this, I believe, is illegal, and I will
Okay.
get a determination.
Okay,
are you,
I don't-
okay, Edgar, you have, without authorization, requested opinions from the town attorney. So are you planning to have the taxpayers pay
I
for
will,
this
I
lawsuit?
didn't say lawsuit, I said I will make a legal inquiry as to determine who controls those funds. Is it only the police chief or is it the New Paltz Town Board?
It's clearly both. He's requesting that we vote on it.
we essentially just release the money. It's
like.
dedicated to him. And when he
If-
comes and asks for it, if
if
he
we-
came and said, I want an armored personnel carrier, and the police commission said, oh, okay, we're fine with that. And then it came to the board and the board said, oh, no, we don't want you to have an armored personnel carrier. We're not going to release the funds for that. You need to go back and rethink that request and come up with something else you want to spend that money on. A similar situation happened with me. The Department of Defense had all this surplus stuff after 9/11, and the chief said, oh, we can use these assets and we can get an armored personnel carrier or a helicopter. And we were like, heck no, you're not gonna do that. And we didn't support that request, so he didn't bring it to the board because he didn't, he thought it wasn't gonna go anywhere, and he came back and he says, well, we could get a new refrigerator, an evidence refrigerator for our detectives division. And we said, we will support that request, and he brought that to the town board. My recollection was Jeff Logan was like, why do they need a refrigerator? And everybody said, yeah, give them the refrigerator, and it was $347.
But this was not seized assets.
It was seized assets.
It was seized
It was
assets.
seized assets.
Seized
What do you call
assets
the
from
vote?
9/11?
Hey, guys,
Yeah.
wait,
No, it wasn't 9/11.
Okay, we're getting way off.
Yeah, you're getting way off topic.
Okay, so you've made the motion, I've seconded.
Call the vote.
I'll vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed.
Opposed.
That doesn't mean we won't still,
Hmm?
we'll get it clarified.
I can't think.
We can still continue to get it clarified, but.
We can
this
continue
is
what?
done. Get it clarified. This is done. This one's done, but we can, it's like moving the money we just moved for the highway for the truck. It was in a fund balance. It's similar to a fund balance. It can only be used for certain things. This is one of the certain things it can be used for. It's under the control of the police department, not the highway department or something like that.
The last comment. We had a situation year and a half ago or less, in which the police chief wanted to take old guns and sell them to other officers. It went to the New Paltz Police Commission, and they recommended that to the town board. The town board turned that around. Now, it doesn't speak 100%, but what it does show you there is that there's a process that those guns cost money, and they were trying to determine what to do with those guns, whether to sell it or destroy them. The feeling of the public and others was that we don't need more guns on the street, and that the best thing we could do is melt those guns, and the New Paltz town board went along with that, okay? So there's a role for the police commission, and we should have been allowed to process this question and then let it come to the town board, and then if you didn't agree with us, it is not good what you're doing to the New Paltz Police Commission, okay? It's the law. It says that we're supposed to be involved with it.
Okay, I think there's different levels of involvement at different things, and I think this one's gotten a little crazy, so, all right. Okay, we'll move on. Authorization to appoint Eileen Headley to the position of payroll personnel assistant in a lateral move with no change in pay, retroactive to 6/24/25.
So moved.
Second,
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Authorization to approve a resolution for the solar and electric vehicle infrastructure grant municipal agreement, Town of New Paltz Recycle Office Building Solar Array.
Second, or did you make the motion?
No, I just.
Okay, I move that we authorize that.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Authorization to approve a resolution for the solar and electric vehicle infrastructure grant municipal agreement, Town of New Paltz Court Building Solar Array.
So moved.
Second, Amanda, any discussion? No, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Authorization to approve a resolution for negative declaration for the updated community preservation plan and the environmental assessment forms 1, 2, and 3.
So moved.
This is to approve a resolution for the negative declaration for the, yes, we said that. Okay, sorry. We did it twice.
So moved.
Second, Amanda, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Authorization to approve amending the community preservation plan and revised law and the community preservation plan revised document law. This is the thing that's required every 5 years to be updated, and it requires an amendment of a local law.
So moved.
Second, we had a presentation at our last meeting.
Right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Authorization to approve a resolution to sign the DOT contract for the transfer of land.
This is the dollar.
This is, it's this piece of property.
By the freeway.
Freeway Authority has excess surplus property. They are willing to transfer it to us for $1. So about 11 acres. The Community Preservation Fund plan has identified this as a desirable piece of land. There would be a benefit to it.
Will it cost us money besides this dollar?
Yes, about $18,000.
And what are we doing with it now? Nothing.
It's sitting there. The
What's the
18,000 comes from the Community Preservation Fund that's built up, so it's not taxpayers' money. It's from the real estate transfer tax that accompanies each transfer transaction that exceeds the amount of the Ulster County median.
So what is our goal in purchasing this piece of land?
John, would you like to? John?
Yeah, I mean, it's part of the mission of the community preservation group board to use the fund from real estate transfer tax to buy or easements, or in this case, fund the purchase by the town of open space areas. This happens to be right on the rail trail, so it may not be super usable.
Right.
Because there's a lot of swampy area, but it does represent the prevention of any encroachment or building that might not be the most attractive we have. So that's the basis is conservation and preservation of open space, and then this is it's pretty good bang for the buck, if you will.
So my question comes from the fact that I am with you, love the open space. I appreciate that we want to preserve land for that purpose, but nobody's trying to buy it now. Like, we're spending this money. Is it the best use of funds considering it's not a piece of land that is an issue? Nobody has wanted to buy it. So it's not like we're keeping it. It was not going to be developed anyway. People had the opportunity to buy it. Nobody was interested in buying
Yeah.
it, so it's probably gonna stay anyway.
Yeah, that's
So
cool.
do we need to spend this 18,000? When it's probably not gonna be developed anyway? I just wanna make sure that it's, the best use of your funds.
Right. I think, well, we've decided it is. The board has voted and decided that this is a good use of the funds. It's only 10.5 or something like that. It's a very small amount
18,000.
that we have, 18,000 done. So, in the grand scheme of things, it's probably, it's a small amount to sort of, let's say, invest, if you will, in a space that could become a useful piece of the rail trail, off the rail trail, could have some impact. And also prevent, like I said, encroachment or building. And, so it's not the, let's say, the showcase piece of, property that we would say, maybe that's coming up in the future. We're working on a couple of things that are gonna be much more significant. But, it is something small, it is available, it's very cheap. And, it could, just because there's no buyer now, it's possible that, someone could come in and do something with it.
There is a chunk of it that could be developed.
Yeah.
Is there's nothing.
I mean,
No.
it's commercially zoned,
Zoned.
it's in a commercial zone, and,
But it's a wetland, isn't it?
In
well, the back
In-
part of it
Pretty much
is.
mostly wetland.
The
This is the
northern
here.
part of it is. But look at the gas station that's right next to it.
Right, right.
Commercial uses happen in
Right,
places that we
right.
sometimes later regret.
Right, that's true.
Where this is, exactly.
It's
Right
next
up
to the
thruway,
mobile
near-
station.
The thruway's right in front.
Right at the
Right
T,
next to the mobile.
where
Yeah.
it says, welcome to New
It's
Paltz.
between where the new building is gonna go and the mobile station.
Right, 10 pillows.
I'm going to be redundant I'm going to be redundant what I said, the last time we discussed this, and because Kitty just said the mobile gas station. At the last meeting, I said, beware of strangers bearing gifts, okay? We don't know if there's any contamination in the soil from their gas station or from anywhere else. Okay, so it may not be long-term the best thing for us to do. And I'm not sure how I'm gonna vote, okay? Because I'm concerned about that issue, that it may cost us more than what we want for a piece of land that we really don't have any use for.
So it's sort of, that's the point, is that it's gonna be a passive green habitat space. It's got woods, it's got water, it's got wetlands. It supports a lot of critters, it supports a lot of plants. It's a nice green spot between a lot of. That whole Empire State Trail coming from Highland is like a, a hot runway. And then you come across this part where there's some green living things.
But is it not a liability for us if someone is hiking, walking through there?
No one's
It's true.
going to hike and walking.
Well, I mean, it's open land, I mean, without.
No, it's
without-
not open. It's mostly.
I know it is, but there's some kid,
They could do that now. It's, the only access is right here. This is absolutely forbidden to have access by vehicles or persons along the rail trail. That's in the deed. We can't open it up. We can't create trails in there. It's not, you tell me, I don't think the intention is to do any kind of development at all, but it's to.
Oh, it's to keep it undeveloped.
Right.
I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing some picnic tables in the shade. It's a long, hot stretch.
You know what?
We
don't
wouldn't
wanna
even be
have
able to
to
see that, but then that opens up the liabilities.
So I just looked up liability, like who cleans up a gas station leak and,
Not just that liability, but if we open it up for public to go through, go inside of, then we have a different liability.
well, we have liability all over the rail trail. I
Mhm.
mean, that's the gift that,
Keeps on giving.
or the gift that keeps on taking. The Empire State, it's actually adjacent to the Empire State Trail. Anyway, if it is discovered that that site is contaminated with gas that has leaked from the adjacent gas station, it is on the business to clean it up.
Which, the DEC?
No, that,
Us.
somebody get up and wave your arms.
Oh, the gas
Thank
station.
you.
It's on the gas station to do the cleanup.
Yeah.
Yep.
But we
yes.
have to pay for a evaluation.
I don't know how often people check to see if gas stations are leaking, but I would hope it's fairly regular.
Me too.
I mean,
So.
Maybe the state has done
Here's the
that.
gas station down here. Here's the only place you can access it. My understanding, we as the town board, if they come back and say, we want to put a nature trail all through here, we as the town board can say, I don't think so, because one, we'd have to pay to do it, and two, we'd have to pay to maintain it. And I don't think we want to take on either of those.
I just would. Just looking at that long, hot stretch of Empire State Trail on Route 9W, if there were a place literally under a tree with a picnic table where people could just drink their water and cool off, I would not be opposed to that.
So you can discuss that with the community president.
Okay. Hello. So anyway, where are we on this vote?
Are we going to sign the contract?
You have to
They-
close the public hearing first.
Thank you, Rosanna.
Can I just say one more thing about this property, because I'm pretty sure I know what you're talking about. Wetlands, you know, wetlands provide, a lot of assets to it. And, we've asked commercial people, we've asked property owners all over, we keep talking about how important they are. And, I think we just feel a tiny bit hypocritical for us to tell everybody else, you need to protect them. We have an opportunity right now to protect this. And we're not
Good
gonna
point.
take it for such a, I mean, I think,
$18,001.
but we have a community group that's looking at all that too. If I didn't have his recommendation, I'd want to know a lot more, but I know the property.
Well,
And I just think, you gotta, it would be good to put your money where your mouth is.
I mean, I had a,
That's part of the public hearing, Rosanna.
yeah, I had a conversation with, one of your members, Michael.
Mike.
Yeah. And I asked a number of similar questions and he said, you know, it would be good for us to sit down as a group and put a working group together to think about how, if we want to use this space at all,
Right.
and how. So, I mean, I'm for it. It's a
I've been
dollar.
back there, it's 10 years. So.
Yeah.
So it's-
As long as the gas station, if there are any problems and whatnot with it, that they pay for it and clean it up, I don't want that to be transferred to our taxpayers. If there is a problem now that ends up leaking in and then destroying, the fish and whatever else lives in the wetlands. I want them to do it. My only question is that liability and responsibility the same? Should that mobile station close down 10 years from now? And, do we get to find them and come back to them and say, clean this up? Or are we stuck?
I believe that when you have a hazmat leak, if it comes to that, it would be a Superfund cleanup. And we've had oil spills on the thruway
We've had-
into wetlands, right? So, the town did not have to clean those up.
That's all I wanna know.
Okay.
As long as taxpayers aren't stuck with somebody else's mess. I'm
But
good
I
to go.
assure you that corporations will not want to pay, and next thing you know, we will be involved with expensive litigation.
She said the Superfund,
No,
Superfund.
That is,
It could be
is
Superfund, I
EPA.
mean, I'm not an expert, but I believe that when, hazardous materials are leaked from a business, that business is responsible for cleaning it up.
Right, but my question is, should that business 25 years or 10 years or 15 years from now not exist? And that gas station is vacant, like College Diner is vacant, and it's just sitting there. I
Well-
would assume that mobile station is a franchise. So,
Based on what happened in Congress today with the billions of dollars being poured into the fossil fuel industry, I am not concerned about mobile going out of business.
well, it's the franchisor.
Let me ask this question. Can we close the public hearing on this purchase of real property from the DOT? Does anyone else want to speak on this right now? I move that we close the public hearing on the purchase of real property from New York State DOT along the freeway.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I move that we authorize approval of the resolution to sign the DOT contract for the transfer of the land.
Second.
Any more discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
one no.
Oh, okay, thank you. You got that, Rosanna?
Got it.
Okay. Now, this is a good one. I hope you guys had a chance to look at this letter in this proposed contract. We talked about it last time. The Greenway Group has proposed to pay for work, for analysis of the situation on the Springtown Bridge, part of the Empire State Trail and the rail trail. They have an in-house group, a group that they work with all the time, who's written a very extensive proposal about how they will do in phases to do the structural analysis, a DOT level safety analysis of the bridge as it currently stands, and identify like immediate repairs that need and can be done. They'll do a further assessment of what the options would be to do the renovation of that bridge and provide us with the pros and cons, the cost, the this, the that, the everything. So it's a very thorough analysis. And once it's done, it puts us in really good shape for going after funds to get whatever work is needed done, because it won't just be, we think we want to do this, we know exactly what needs to be done, and we'll have a good idea of what it could cost, so. And Greenway will pay for this work. There's no requirement for us to do anything except help them out with some of the manual work. So motion to approve the signing of the Greenway proposal letter and Greenway proposal resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks. Do we have any liaison reports that we want to specifically pull out?
Well, we know that the police commission is meeting next Tuesday,
Okay,
the eighth. And Ethics Committee has already met twice this year,
okay.
so unless there's an issue there, they won't be meeting again. They don't have a scheduled meeting.
Okay. You have a person who's interested.
Oh, good.
Yeah, we got one, but you should have gotten for Ellen, and so when he's available for, I mean,
Have we asked him to come next meeting?
yeah, he's, I forget what, hasn't even said it yet.
I will not be at the 7th.
Okay, keep that in mind.
I will be going over the red line for the Charter Communications contract with Anton that we received back from Charter, so tick tock, tick tock, tick tock.
Let's see.
But it's moving.
Yeah.
Moving. Exciting.
Okay, I just need to go back here, anywhere, any other reason?
Yeah,
Okay.
I just want to, the Recreation Committee
Oh.
meeting, I just received two of their draft minutes, so it's not final. But we had a meeting just 2 days ago. I'm impressed with how consistent they are and willing to put out and do things to improve the many things that they described in the last meeting that we were here, that there was a large turnout of children, parents, a variety, softball, baseball, et cetera. And the Recreation Committee had a meeting with about nine of those folks just a couple of nights ago. And they're willing to help out and do things, set up a concession stand or something as a possibility. They're willing to help groom fields, maybe bring in materials. And they continue to have a number of events. They're looking at having a food truck. I think they've had some discussions with the town that could actually generate some income for them. And so they talk basically about Clearwater Fields and the Field of Dreams. And they talked again about the need to have 3 scoreboards. I'm not sure where the third one goes, but I know with 2. I thought I heard 3. I thought I heard 3. No, I may be wrong. So they're doing a lot of good work. I'm very impressed by them, the energy, the commitment, and the willingness to do work and to plan, et cetera. And I will continue to report out on their great work.
Great, that's great. We did get some, after the meeting, we got some information about the scoreboards that they shared with us, so that's something to take a look at. Okay, any other reason?
We got a letter of interest from one person, but she's not available for interviewing tonight. Is
Not
that?
until August.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
yeah.
and I sent out an email about another person, but you have that email.
Okay.
That's interested.
Yes, we have
Okay,
several
we have-
people for the police chief, right? Okay, and what we need is the planning board. We need some folks with the planning board. Okay, so one of the things I failed to do when we did all this authorization of these resolutions is we didn't, I know, we gotta do this roll call vote thing, I think. Rosanna, do we need to do the roll call vote for the 4 different resolutions?
I don't think you have to, but you can.
But we definitely have to do the one for the $18,001, right?
It's for all 4 of them. It's
All
for the-
4?
For the grants, the grants need the resolution passed by the board. So once the resolution's passed by the board, we voted to do it. It was unanimous. For the 2 resolutions for the solar vehicle, the solar infrastructure grant. The one for the, that we did the neg deck, this one is for the law, I think. Yeah, and we all voted for the purchase of the real property. So I think they were all unanimous, so I think,
Did you? No, you
No.
voted,
Not on
oh,
the,
no, you were not.
you were no for the
not on the
property.
property.
Oh, on the part, my mistake. Okay, so we want to make sure okay, so let's do the roll call on that one. Okay,
Sounds good.
Rosanna, do you know which one I'm talking about?
Yes.
Would you do the roll call for the vote?
Supervisor Amanda Gatto. Supervisor Amanda Gatto.
Aye.
Deputy
Super-
Super. Deputy Supervisor Kitty Brown.
Aye.
Councilmember Randall Leverett.
Aye.
Councilmember Essie Lewis.
Aye.
And Councilmember Edgar Rodriguez.
No.
Okay, thank you. The rest were unanimous, so we're good on that. Okay, so Rosanna, you can complete these and sign them off?
Yes.
Okay, very good. All right, we went through with all of this. Okay, I move that we go into executive session for the purpose of discussing pending litigation.
Second,
Rosanna, did we get everything on the agenda that you need up until now? Just,
Did we close the second public hearing?
You closed the one to purchase property. You didn't close the one to amend the community preservation plan.
Okay, we did it out of order because we did approve the resolution, so I move we close the public hearing to amend the community preservation plan.
Second.
On favor?
aye.
aye.
Aye, it's closed.
I think we saw a hand out there. Public comment? Somebody want to say something?
Did you have your hand up?
Here on behalf of, police officer.
You wanna come up?
Can you come up?
Do you want to come up so we can hear you?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, you can just,
This is
Hi.
the microphone, for the recording of meeting.
You want
Probably.
to sign in? Sure. Is there a sheet over there?
yeah,
Sign
there
in.
is. There's a
Here,
sign in for
probably,
public
if-
comments.
sign in on the one that says public comment.
And fine, when you get a chance to just sign the one for the public hearing.
Thank you for coming. You can go ahead.
Yes, we're here on behalf of,
Just, I'm sorry,
police officer
louder.
Jerome Milton, that, was plastered all over the news, with charges of, what is that? Stalking, something to that effect. So, they were trying to get him to resign. And I'm just here because I just don't feel that it's fair. The steps and procedures that they're taking towards it. So we're all here on his behalf.
Do you care to share your name with us? If you-
Lene Scott.
Thank you. Anybody else want to say something?
My name is Althea Milton. I'm also here on behalf of Officer Milton. I basically came out here tonight to show my support of him. I have known him all his life. I have known the man he's grown into and the wonderful police officer that he's been for the last 4 or 5 years. I was at his swearing-in ceremony. So I just want to have it on record that I am in support of his good character. He is a moral person. And I do hope that he is treated fairly. Thank you.
And just a correction, 6 years of service that he's had. I'm here as a community member for him as well, and those in public roles should always be held undoubtedly to a high standard as they're upholding the responsibilities of their community and the ethics of that. And as you all know, any person who's appointed a public role, they go through an extensive vetting process to ensure that they meet those requirements. So this is an officer who has met those requirements and has a longstanding, work history with you guys as not only a police officer, but also a detective. He's also worked in the roles and the capacity in a school building, with our youth, making a good impact on them. So I just hope those things are also taken into consideration. And I guess lastly is, everyone is always presumed innocent until proven guilty. And I think that is just something that we should carry out, until the conclusion of this trial, that his job remain intact.
Absolutely.
And that's it for me.
Thank you.
And he's been in this
Could you
community
just
all
sign
his
it
life,
so we make sure we get?
all his life. Hi, my name is Sean Merritt Scott. I've known Jerome Milton all of his life. I just want to say that the media attention that this has been given is a little bit unjust. And we just ask that you kind of shield your eyes to that and just look at the situation. I know that there have been other officers that have been in worse situations that have been, reinstated to full capacity right after these things. So I'm just saying, I'm just asking imploring that you guys, please, just be objective as you can, and I'm in support of him 100%. I helped him get through this process, and I just want to see fairness. Thank you.
Thank you. I mean, we all absolutely hold to the fundamental belief that everyone is innocent until proven guilty. I have not heard anything about this officer being removed from being an employee. So I hope that you can go home with that confidence.
Yes, thank you. Thank you
Okay.
so much.
We've done a lot of good in the community.
Yes.
We know Officer Milton.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Thanks.
coming. Is there anyone else here who wanted to speak? Did you guys?
There's
Night.
one there, Fawn, is that the public hearing? Make sure it's
Oh,
Yep.
right, 'cause-
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night. Buenos dias. Buenos dias. Oh, where are you
Buenos
learning
noches.
Spanish?
Buenos noches, y'all.
Yeah,
Real fast Spanish, it's a tutor program, 3 to 5 every Sunday. And then there's conversational practice, so hopefully the women in Peru asked me to come back speaking Filipino.
Yeah, that's right, it is.
Buenos
Good
noches.
night.
Noches. I'm just learning it too.
Make, approve, and vote on the move to executive session.
I move that we go into executive session for the purposes of discussing litigation.
Second,
On favor?
aye. We muted?
Among other things. I collect religion.
Oh, I was getting ready to say, you weren't always.
Hello, Rosanna, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
I make a motion to come out of executive session.
Second,
On favor?
aye.
I make a motion that we appoint Fawn Tantillo to the Police Commission.
Second,
Discussion?
We have a second, so we can.
Yeah,
I think that we should postpone all, appointments until we have completed interviews and dealt with some other issues.
Any other discussion?
I also think that we're not ready to vote until we interview all of the candidates. And allow the police commission to continue the work it's doing right now. It is too disruptive at this moment with everything that's going on to bring on a new member until, and we need to wait to interview the other people. It's not anything personal against Fawn, who I personally know. It's a matter of process and procedure.
I'm gonna call the question.
Yeah, you know.
you call the question?
Aye.
Aye.
Nay.
No,
What?
Did you?
We just voted.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Aye.
Aye.
to no, to yes.
I abstained.
So we wait.
What?
Are we done?
I said I abstained.
You
Thank you.
can't.
Of course you can.
Why can't? we?
Why? What?
Can't.
You have to have a
You
reason
have
to
to have a
abstain.
reason to abstain. You can't abstain.
Just be,
I'm not dealing with the police commission.
Okay, so we have no vote, and what's next?
I vote we adjourn.
Second.